Have you ever found a lead that wants to hire you as their fractional CFO and you're super excited to work with them? They're in the right industry, they're the right size, they have the right mindsets and values that are gonna make them an amazing client, only to get on the sales call and find out that their revenues are a fraction of what they led you to believe, which means there's no way they're ever gonna be able to afford your services. This is completely frustrating, but it's also completely avoidable. In this episode of the CFO Report, I'm talking to one of my inner circle members, Daniel Talbot, who ran into this exact situation at a recent networking event. What was the advice that I gave him so that he can make sure this never happens again? Let's dive in and find out.
I pulled back from online biz dev, started getting some traction local, in person. It's going well. When I was focusing on businesses that were sub $1 million, my screening questions about revenue were more to direct my conversation, less about actually screening them out of the call entirely. So I met a guy through BNI, super great. We had a call. I struggled to avoid getting into the sales conversation in person, but did a good job, pushed him into a Zoom call that we scheduled later in the day, went through the whole sales call. And then at the end found out that the revenue numbers he had shared with me were more aspirational than reality.
Yeah.
And he was ready to pay whatever. But when I told him the price, crazy sticker shock, found out the truth about the revenue. And it was just it all fell apart. And after it felt so good for multiple conversations. So I'd love to know, how are you screening for your ICA in this in-person biz dev environment?
What was your revenue in 2022?
That's it.
Period.
So, yeah.
Just asking what it was last year. I've been in the same boat, right? Where it's we did 800,000 last year, but this year we're going to do 5 million, right? And so you only hear the 5 million part. You don't hear the reality part.
Right.
And so I just started getting the habit of asking what their last year revenue was. People are I'm not sure. I'm ballpark me within $200,000. Are we closer to 1 million last year or 5 million? That's all I need to know. I don't need to know if it was, $2,836,925.18. I don't care. I just need to know that, are you above or below my minimum threshold? And you can ask them that at the BNI thing when you're one-on-one. Just say, hey, what did last year look like for you from a top line perspective?
You always so quickly point out where I made my mistake because so he's last year I was by myself. I did 200. Now I partnered up with a buddy. We've got 10 reps selling for us now. So now we're going to do 1 million, but their sales guys haven't closed anything. So it's I can see it, but you're not there. So so I shouldn't have gotten optimistic for him. I should have been practical from last year.
You can do the follow on. I mean, it's rare. It's super rare that anyone's going to go from low 6 figures or something to multi-million dollar. Look at the growth of TCA. We went from 250,000 last year and we've had ridiculous growth and we might do 1 million this year. And that's pretty ridiculous. And so to take somebody that did, a couple $100,000 last year and now they're going to do, multiple 7 figures, it doesn't pass the straight face test. But if you're wondering, just ask them hey, what are you year to date? Give me a ballpark year to date. Where are you? What have you done so far? And see what they say.
Gotcha. I appreciate it. Not to keep this going too long, but if you're having a great conversation, you're in person, you're at a networking event, you ask that question and you find out that they're just way below your threshold. What's your go-to thing to be super nice, make sure they end on a good note, but don't think they could be a client?
Good question, because you don't want to seem like a jerk, you're too small for it. It's a thing that's just in my pocket now. I'm oh, that's awesome. Congratulations on the growth. That's tremendous, especially if you're a solopreneur. The way that I've built my firm is we're set up to help businesses that are in the construction services industry that are anywhere from $3 to $20 million in revenue. And so you don't have to say you're too small. You just tell them what the deal is. This is who we serve. And so they're oh, we're not there yet. And it's cool. Let me know when you get there. I actually know some people that serve businesses that are, at a stage similar to yours. And so if you'd like me to refer you to a fractional CFO that I know and trust that helps businesses that are kind of where you're at now, I would love to make that introduction. If you want to, you could do that. I love giving referrals. So that's always a fun thing for me to do. So that way you're actually helping them. And so you definitely don't look like a jerk. That's too cool for school. But yeah, just tell them this is who we serve. And then that's cool. It's very obvious.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right, my friend, I hope you found this episode of the CFO Report to be immensely helpful. If you did, I would love it if you'd share it with a friend. In the meantime, I can't wait to see you back here next week. I'll see you then.